Good afternoon, ladies and gents. Welcome back to Churchyard. The family grave of Mr. John Forge of this parish, sailmaker, who died 21st of June 1833, aged 55 years. Also of James Reed, son of James and Amelia Reed of this parish, who died 24th of July 1834, aged 6 months. Likewise, James Reed, brother of the above, who died December the 22nd, 1838, aged, what's that, 20 weeks. Also, Mary, relict of the above Mr. John Forge, who departed this life the 6th of April 1840 in the 64th year of her age. And it's got Rosa Reed, daughter of the above James and that's Amelia Reed, died 1st of November 1862, aged 20 something years. 23 or 25 years by the looks of it. We are quite worn away. Oh, sorry about the sniffing, but it's turned really cold and I haven't got a cardigan with me or anything, or jumper rather. The family grave of Richard Blydestin and Amelia Tizer, in affectionate remembrance of the beloved children of the above. Francis, who died 20th of September 1854, aged 8 months. Also of Amelia Jarrett, who died the 19th of November 1854, aged 1 year and 11 months. Also of Sydney, who died the 1st of October 1858, aged 1 year and 8 months. Also of Ellen, who died the 21st of December 1868, aged 9 years and 7 months. Also of Frederick William, who died the 21st of July 1870, aged 4 years and 3 months. Good God. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children, those poor people. The child and infant mortality was just horrendous in those days, absolutely horrendous. There's another vault, completely worn away. A couple of tombstones or gravestones, as you call them. Headstones, some people call them. Turned over. Oh dear. In affectionate remembrance of Anne Mary, the beloved wife of William Langley, who died August the 6th, 1886, aged 49 years. Weep not for me, my husband and children dear. I am not dead, but sleeping here. Free from sorrow, free from pain, earnest in heaven to meet again. Resting in heaven to meet again. Sorry. Also William, the beloved husband of the above, died June the 28th, 1896, aged 69 years. And his verse is nearly completely worn away, so I won't do that. Oh, I forgot, sorry. This one I just did here, there's name on the back. Also James, second son. So this is another child. Sorry, I completely forgot. Died June the 12th, 1888, aged 34 years. Also of Amelia, the beloved wife of Richard B-T-Y-S-E-R. Died June the 16th, 1888, aged 54 years. Sorry, I didn't want to leave them out. I don't like doing that. Sacred to the remembrance of Thomas Hugh Collins of this parish, who departed this life on the 6th of August 1877, aged 72 years. Something Lord gave, and the Lord have taken away. Something, and be the name, blessed be the name of the Lord. The Lord have given, and the Lord have taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. I know that one because I've attended far too many funerals for my liking. Right, we'll cover these little ones over here in this corner, and then we'll get back to round to where we are. There's a little story coming up in a minute of, they don't know whether it was attempted grave robbery, as in what was on the bodies, or one particular body, or attempting to steal a very large, what would be very expensive piece of granite, but we'll get on to that in a minute. I'm just going to pause you a second while I light a cigarette. We're carrying back on. Over here is an old vault, and it collapsed. Clarkson and Potter, the two surnames of the people that are buried there. Other details we don't know, but Carol's told me Clarkson and Potter. And the vault is from the early 1700s, and the whole thing collapsed into itself. So it's been filled with earth and neatened up as best it can be. Part of a broken gravestone there. On away, I'm afraid. Henry M-E-S, sorry, Henry Morgan. So that's the Morgan family. I can literally only make out his name. This one took a hit when this churchyard isn't looked after by the church anymore. It's looked after by the council, and has been for a good number of years. But when the people in charge of looking after it before this lot were in charge of looking after it, they hit it with the ride-on lawnmower. Hence why ride-on lawnmowers are not allowed anymore. And this is Richard Cotterill, chairman of this parish, who departed this life. That's one away. That's really annoying. He's aged. No, looks like something 9 years, 9 years or something, but I ain't going to read out what's. Also, Mary Ann, beloved wife of the above, departed this life. Something August the 14th. No, I'm afraid that's gone. That's a shame. This is a well-preserved one. Sacred to the memory of Mr. George Cross, late of this parish, pork butcher. Pork butchers were quite wealthy in those days, or well off, believe it or not, because a lot of people ate pork, far more pork than we eat now. Who departed this life March the 7th, 1796, aged 85 years. Also of Sarah, his wife, who departed this life February the 20th, 1790, aged 60 years. Also near this place lieth Mrs. Mary Munton, daughter of the above, who departed this life March the 29th, 1811, aged 50 years. Likewise 6 of their grandchildren who died in infancy. Also Mr. Edward Cross of this parish, pork butcher, departed this life. Oh, it's really annoying. Something And that's January something AN, so it's going to be January the 25th, 1820. And then you've got also Sarah Ann. Nah, completely blistered away, but we got most of that, which is pretty good. And I am glad I'm capturing these before they completely wear away. Like this one, which is Elizabeth J. Elizabeth Jennings. Also of Robert Rowe. Also of Sarah. There we are. In affectionate remembrance of Sarah, the beloved wife of William Hartin, who departed this life the 29th of October 1869, aged 37 years. Also Sarah Elizabeth, daughter of the above, who departed this life the 3rd of June 1880, aged, oh gosh, something years and 10 months. Also Elizabeth Selina, daughter of, is that daughter of William, I can't make that bit out, who departed this life the 7th of September 1881, aged 1 years. Also William Martin, and that's worn away. Where do we carry back on from? We was over here, weren't we? So another sepulchre grave there. They look like what they're meant to represent is shrouded bodies, and a lot of Quakers before the Quaker burying ground came along. A lot of Quakers chose these one because they're plain. There's no name or ornateness on it, but you know that there's a grave there, because the Quakers, when they got their own churchyards, up until a certain time in the 1800s, they weren't allowed gravestones, and even after that they were only allowed very small modest gravestones. Elizabeth Fry has a very small modest gravestone, and this one's snapped in half. Quite how, we don't know, but it looks fairly recent. Yeah, but you can see the white, but I don't know how that's happened. Whether vandalised or not, we don't know. But yeah, most of these ones here are worn away. So look, you can see they would have been quite ornately carved in their day. 2 cherubs. And there is a skull and bones. And the name, unfortunately, is completely gone. See, the ones that are made from this kind of limestone, ashlar type stone, do not last. This, interestingly enough, is a piece of World War II damage, that hole there. And as I said when I covered my own ancestor's grave at the back there, it's why there's no gravestones right at the back there. There were warehouses along the river there, and it got bombed in the war and literally smashed quite a lot of the gravestones beyond repair, including my own ancestors' ones. And a few of these ones here got damaged with bits of shrapnel as well. Right, onto our little interesting possible grave robbery. 1990s, and this is still under police investigation, believe it or not, in memory of Eliza Campbell, born 24th of August 1827, died 13th of September 1877. Joseph McGregor Campbell, husband of the above, born 24th February 1824, died 18th of February 1895. also of their children. Colin Campbell, born 23rd of July 1860, died 7th of August 1875. Joseph McGregor Campbell, born 20th of July 1859, died 14th of April 1903. Now, as I say, back then, and it is still under police investigation, this was of course on there, and when the people came into the churchyard in the morning, they found this dragged off and this partially dragged off a little bit. They couldn't get it off. Now the rumour is that Eliza Campbell, and this is just a little bit of local legend, I don't know whether it's true or not, and they don't know whether it's true, that Eliza Campbell was buried in all her jewellery, and her husband was quite well off, and you can tell by this vault that they're not poor. And they don't know whether it was grave robbing or stone robbing, because that's a big old piece of granite that polished and cleaned and cut, whatever these stinkers or arseholes want to do with it, would fetch a massive price. But yeah, that's that, and it's not been put back on because it is still under investigation. There you have it. There's an old vault under that one, and that is from the 1600s. And there's bits of old stone over here. This one's got carvings on it. Oh yeah, look, we've got our... Oh look, we've got crossed bones and a shovel. That's cheerful, isn't it? Mr. Isaac and Mrs. Helena Timson buried in this one. That's the names of them. I don't know any other details other than that's what Carol told me. It is a vault. This one, box vault next to it, possibly family as they're so close together, but we don't know. And we've got more skulls and bones, which are delightfully cheerful. But they, as I say, they seem really, God, what the hell? What's like to us? Why would someone want that on a grave? How depressing. But they did serve a purpose. They were a message, known as a memento mori, to remind the living that you're a long time dead. And especially in those days, when there was no NHS, no antibiotics, you could be alive one day and possibly dead of a disease in not very long afterwards. And those skulls and that were on there to remind the living that you'll be here soon, so behave yourself while you're alive, because you're a long time dead. And the angels are always shown there to show the judgment. So they were moral messages, basically, to try and get people to be nice, which people have been trying to do that with human beings so many years and have not succeeded very well, in my humble opinion. Sacred to the memory of Mr. Joseph Grout of this parish, died September something 1849. Oh, it's really annoying, in the something year of his age, and below is Mary, no, that's Anne by the looks of it. I can't make out much more of that. See what I mean about the blistering? These are all worn away. Look, some of them are still got the carving shown on them, which you can still see bits of, but they would have been elaborately carved in their days. Normally with, you can just see the cherubs on either side, and that looks like a skull in the middle there. But anyone that's got family here, if you want to know which graves are who, to the memory of Jeremiah, oh goodness. Here lieth ye body something of William Knight. See, it looks quite clear on the screen, but honestly, I ain't just making it out. You can't see it that well with your eyes. William Knight, at least I've been able to show his name, at least. Where's this one? Joseph Moore. Moore. Joseph Moore. Moore. Joseph Moore. So yeah, as I say, some of them are still pretty well preserved, but a lot of them are worn away. But you can make out the writing on a few of them, as I say. Right, and we are nearly done now. Over here, where the church centre is, was where the poor people used to be buried, including quite a lot of mine. Quite a lot of my ancestors, the Lee lot from Barkingside village. They were poor, and a few of the Maywoods were quite poor, even though some of that family had money. But yeah, but they was buried around here, and obviously when the church centre was built, they were dug up, and I'll show you where they were moved in a minute. William Henry Topsom, 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 yeah. Who died? 13th March. Age 66 years, and I can't make out the year properly, I'm sorry. Mary Ann Topsom, wife of the above, died November the 25th, 1887, aged 85 years. Also James Dorrington Searling, died November the 17th, 1889, aged 54 years, though I will be done. Also of Mary Ann Searling, wife of the above, died 29th of May 1908, aged 72 years, forever with the Lord. And there's someone in there, but that's one away. And we should be able to get, I'll try and do this in one hit. It might be a little bit over half an hour, but it's going on YouTube anyway, so that's not a problem. See, look, you can make out little bits of lettering on these, but a lot of it is completely worn away, I'm afraid. Workmen have gone home for the night. Joseph John Raymond died 23rd of December 1903 in his 46th year. Also of Emily Drain, who died the 22nd of December 1875, aged 15 months. Also of Sarah Raymond, the beloved wife of the above, Joseph John Raymond, who died the 11th of March 1929 in her 80th year. And that's the footstone from that which has fallen over. Worn away. We'll check these ones out, but I do believe they are more or less completely worn away, most of them. Little bits of lettering you can just see on there. Aged 55 years, whoever that one was. Yeah, there's a little squirrel there. Hi. Yeah, it's the guys doing their work up on the bell tower, which is needed doing for quite some time. W.H. William, also William something, son of John, and you can see it's pretty badly gone. We've got a box tomb here, and I'll be able to get this done in the 30-minute mark near on. to the memory of Elizabeth, daughter of James and Elizabeth Morgan of this town, who departed this life April the 2nd, 1819, aged 4 years. Also 4 of their children who died in infancy, Elizabeth, Thomas and Edward. Also Mr. James Morgan, let's have a look at that properly. Also Mrs. Jane Morgan, grandmother of the above, who died April the 21st, and that's 1830 something, and that looks like aged 81 or 91 years. Also of the above named Mrs. Elizabeth Morgan, who died January the 14th, and that's 18 something, in the 74th year of her age. They're quite worn away, I'm afraid. There is writing on the top of this one. Sacred to the memory of Mrs. Elizabeth Morgan, who died 19th of January 1855, aged 79 years. Also Mrs. Mary Hayes Morgan, and the rest of that is worn, I'm afraid. John Martin, beloved child of Frank and Elizabeth Willett, given July the 19th, 1881, taken January the 7th, 1885. James Morgan and James Morgan, son of George and Elizabeth Morgan, who was unfortunately drowned on the 2nd of August 1811, aged 4 years and 3 months. Also of the aforesaid Mr. George Marchant. That's the name, not Morgan, it's Marchant. George and Elizabeth Marchant. Also of the aforesaid Mr. George Marchant, who was unfortunately lost at sea October the 27th, 1812, aged 35 years. Likewise of James, son of the above, who died in infancy. Also of Mr. George Marchant, son of Mr. George Marchant, who was lost at sea December the 4th, 1826, aged 22 years. Christ, they lost a few people in their family at sea, didn't they? This was quite fishing and naval community, and I can't remember in my last video whether I did cover this one over here, but I can't. Well, I'll do it just in case. Sacred to the memory of Mrs. Mary Burrell, late of King's Lynn in the county of Norfolk, died September the 12th, 1810, aged 73 years. Likewise George Burrell, who departed this life 31st of May 1840, aged 56 years. Also of Mrs. Mary Ann Burrell, relict of the above, who died, it's worn away, I'm afraid. There we are, but yeah. To carry back on over here, which is there's only this one to cover really. To the memory of P. Nairn, 11th of the 6th, 1871 to 12th of the 11th, 1884. S.R. Nairn, 17th of the 12th, 1869 to 8th of the 12th, 1884. R. Nairn, 6th of the 11th, 1941 to 19th of the 5th 1919. C9. Fifth of the 1st 1838 to 16th of the 2nd 1923, and that's that family grave. It has got a gravestone which was completely blistered away, which is why they put that there in later times. We have covered this one, George Youngman. I remember covering this side, and I think we've got everyone except for, and I wanted to save this bit till last in a minute. Mr. Michael Biggs of this parish, who departed this life June the 24th, 1778, aged 54 years. This is really well preserved, this one. Also, Mrs. Jenny Biggs, relict of the above Michael Biggs, who departed this life October the 8th, 1801, aged 76 years. Also Jenny, daughter of the above, and late wife of Mr. Edmund Moore of Great Ilford, who departed this life November the 7th, 1831, aged 84 years. Right, and we have covered all our burials and visible graves, and this is what I wanted to save till last. It's a bit shoddy looking now, I'm afraid, but it was all curbed off like this, and all around here, in a figure of 8 kind of shape, is a mass grave of where they moved all the bones that were taken up when the new church centre was built. So all my Lee ancestors, Maywood ancestors, and any of the ancestors that were buried in that section of the churchyard beforehand, because the only way you know where people are buried in this one is if they had a gravestone and it was recorded in 1931, because in burial registers themselves they don't record obviously where the grave is, they're just recorded as a burial. You can normally tell the difference between the poor people burials and the people with money, because the people with money were buried by the vicar and the people without money were buried by the curate. But yeah, this is where they're all buried, in here. Several thousand people, so I'm told, because by the time the church centre was built, the crypt and the ossuary had been long sealed up, so they couldn't open that one and put these people in, so this was an empty bit of the churchyard. This was in the 80s and 90s, and this is where they were all put. Right, guys and girls, and that is our tour of Barking Churchyard. I hope you all found this interesting. If you did, please give it a like and a share. If you didn't, well, tough titty. Take care all, and see you all soon.